America they envisioned. And I didn't stop there. I met and spoke with anyone and everyone that I could, and a team of volunteers who became more like family helped me knock on doors and make calls around the clock. On election day, I won. To be sure, a lot of people, including some friends, doubted I could win. I had people tell me that the odds were against me, that I didn't fit into the typical mold of a DA, and that I couldn't beat an established incumbent. I'm not the first woman to hear that from the so-called experts. In fact, women across all fields hear the same doubts and questions about their qualifications and ability to lead. Those are the comments that make us consider what we know, and the questions that make us wonder whether there will be support for our ideas. But here's the thing. I didn't listen. If I had listened to what people told me was not possible, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to show little girls everywhere that someone like me could win, not only to become district attorney of a major city, but to go on to become the first woman attorney general of California and only the second Black woman in history to serve as a U.S. senator, and, as of this writing, the first Black and Indian American woman to be on a major party ticket and be elected Vice President of the United States of America. If the congresswomen who won in 2018 had listened to the naysayers, the power in the United States House of Representatives wouldn't have switched hands. If legends like Shirley Chisholm, Geraldine Ferraro, and Hillary Clinton had listened to the negativity, they wouldn't have followed the call to unapologetically crack the glass ceiling of putting a woman in the White House. It's time for you, listener, to turn inward and realize the strength that is already within you to change the world for the better. As I wrote this foreword, I couldn't help but think of the 2017 Women's March. As I stood on stage and saw that inspiring sea of women, I marveled at our power, at what we can do when we come together to answer the question, who are we, with our values and our strength? Many women decided to answer that call by running for office. In fact, in the first 3 or so years after Donald Trump's election, more than 50,000 women reached out to Emily's List for the first time, looking to run for office. You'll hear more about that in this book. Those women include members of Congress, state legislators, women still planning their first run. These women are changing the country. And as more of them get elected, they are changing their communities and the face of power in this country. But this book is not just about running for office. It's about using our strength in many ways to improve the world around us. Becoming an elected official and advocating and raising awareness for issues important to you are some of the most difficult but rewarding challenges you can take on in life. And we all have a role, both little and big, that works toward the collective goal of changing our world for the better. Making change happen is not easy, but the book you are about to listen to gives you a blueprint to start. After dedicating years in politics and the last decade to fighting the challenges women face every day, Stephanie Schriock is an expert in this area. I know you'll enjoy the stories in this book, and I urge you to use the lessons. No matter your field, your passion, or your concern, you will find valuable insight on how to conquer common fears and obstacles that have held many back. Learn these lessons and use them to help you find your own path. Take your own best practices from them. Do the work and prove the naysayers wrong. Because when they tell us we can't win or we shouldn't win, we know better. As I always say, see and fight for what can be, unburdened by what has been. Run to win.
Introduction. So you've decided to change the world. Maybe you've been an activist for years, fighting to make things better. Maybe the 2016 election and everything that came after it woke something up within you. Maybe you're inspired by the women who have taken matters into their own hands.